What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby. I'm dying. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
What
the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the f*** are you talking about?
All right, everybody, welcome in. This is Real Talk Fantasy exclusive on a2dradio.com. Live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, Instagram. Stream us wherever you get your download us wherever you get your podcast. Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Jesse King, Mike Everly. Of course, I'm Rob Brinkman. Week 13 in fantasy. So we got this week and next week, and then it's the playoffs. Hopefully you've been listening all season, and you're in a great position to hopefully win a championship in the coming weeks. But if you still got some work to do, like a few of my teams do, we got you. Week 13, we got 6 teams on bye. We'll have fill-ins. We'll have the latest injury news, 9 a.m., 3 hours until 4 hours. What is it, 3 hours? 3 hours until the 1 o'clock kickoffs. So we got you covered for the next hour. Money Pop Podcast, have all your gambling picks coming up at 10 a.m. right here on A2D Radio, and then into the night. Agree to disagree. Be talking all things Eagles Niners mega showdown at the link. That's where we will start. But first, let me tell you about our friends at Baguio's Breads, Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, anything you need for your football watching needs. Go over there to Baguio's Breads. 10% off in-store order. Mention A2D. They're open from 9 to 3 today. To better service you, that's Baguio's Breads over there in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. We are jumping. There's our great sponsor right there. 10% off your in-store purchase, open from 9 to 3 today. Get your fix for that Eagles-Niners showdown. It's raining. It's storming. The old man is snoring here in Philadelphia. I think that plays right into the Eagles' hands. I like the Eagles today. Let's start with our poll question. The Eagles and Niners will score over 48 points, over the posted total, 48, 7.5, depending on where you pick. I like an under here. I like the under before I woke up and saw that it was not so nice here in Philadelphia. I got the Eagles winning 28-10, 28-13, 28-14, 24-14, something like that. Something along those lines. I'm starting my studs, but I mean, not getting cute, but Jalen. I don't know if Brock Purdy's a start today. I'll get your thoughts on that. And obviously, you're starting CMC, Debo, Ayuk on the Niners side. Brown and Smith are must starts, but I mean, I don't know if they're going to go off. So if your team is predicated on one of those Eagles or Niners stars going off, you're going to need to find another source of statistics for your fantasy football team today. I have this game under 47.5, under 48, depending on where you look. Jesse, what do you think?
Well, Rob, the old man is not snoring because I'm wide awake and I'm here early this morning. And I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'm looking outside, and it is always sunny in Philadelphia. And it's going to be a great game day. Birds outright today. And the reason why I say that is no one else besides this podcast is saying it. Everyone that is talking about this game, the Eagles have done such a good job to get here. But, this is going to be a tough one for them. And, the 49ers owe them one. So they're probably just going to win this. No, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that anymore. Miss me with that. You're coming to Philadelphia. You're playing the best team in the league. We are supposed to be in the middle of this gauntlet, and we are undefeated in it. What makes you think that this is not going to be literally a coin flip game, a coin toss? What really swayed me over to the other side, what really swayed me to being firmly and staunchly on the Eagles outright is everyone is doubting. And no one on the national media is picking the Eagles. Watch all these morning shows, besides us, the ones that are on TV and everything. Watch them. You're going to see everyone pick the 49ers. It might be a close game or it might be whatever. They're going to pick the 49ers, and they're wrong. The 49ers and the Eagles are not the same teams as they were last year. And I think this iteration of the teams, the 49ers don't have the same defense that they did last year. And the Eagles have the receiving core to target the 49ers where they're weak, right? In their secondary and up the middle of the field, right? So the Eagles have the offense to beat that. And both of these defenses just are not the same as they were last year. So I don't really bet a lot of over-unders. I definitely don't bet a lot of overs, but I would take an over in this game. The rain's going to be this morning. It's going to slack up, by the middle of the afternoon. So by that 4:25 kickoff, the rain should be done. It will be a little chilly, mid 50s, but it should not be rainy. And honestly, rain doesn't stop offense. I was there in the link last weekend, and it poured the entire time. It was freezing cold. It's wind that really stops the offense, and it's not supposed to be that windy. Birds outright. I'm not calling any blowout or anything like that. It's going to be a hard game. It's not going to be easy. All right. They have a chip on their shoulder, but the Eagles have been listening to this stuff all offseason, all regular season, and they've been listening all week while they're sitting there rehabbing, with their feet up, because trying to elevate and get their injuries and get ready, right? They're listening all week to everybody talk about the 49ers and nobody talk about the Eagles. Birds outright. What do you say, Mike?
I say that everything tells me this is going to be an over, but you know how overs have been not hitting this year. This is going to be a playoff atmosphere. Both teams have solid defenses, but I think they're susceptible on the back end of those defenses. If I'm the Eagles, I line up A.J. Brown on Davius Ward every single play, and I go that way until the 49ers stop it. Now, the thing is, both of them have very good D-lines. Eagles better D-line than the Niners, but the Niners get after you. They have the pass rushers, and with Randy Gregory, Chase Young, and Bosa. But again, I like the over in this because of the offenses, because the offenses have been putting up points. Brock Purdy, he's going to want to show something after getting injured last year early in that game. Christian McCaffrey, he'll be there. Debo, Ayuk, and then for the Eagles, A.J. Brown, Smitty, Swift, Hurts. It's just a lot of horses in this game. I actually like the over. The weather's not going to play a factor, in my opinion. I agree, Jesse, that wind is the bigger factor, and that won't be an issue this week. So for me, I like the over in this game. I have a coin flip, 24-27 game. It could go either way. I probably lean Birds right now because they are the better team, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the 49ers dominate teams this season because of that D-line that you alluded to, Mike, especially now with having Chase Young, to partner on the other side of Bosa. But the Eagles have the best offensive line in the league, right? They have, a future Hall of Famer right tackle, Lane Johnson, who I believe should play today, and then they have a left tackle in Mailata, whose name you never hear about until Christmas time when he's singing on the Christmas album, right? Because he doesn't give up a bunch of pressure. So it's strength on strength, right? And a great O-line can neutralize a great defensive line.
And so, hey, you got that Hall of Fame center.
Say again?
You got the Hall of Fame center who's going to be calling these calls, making the line adjustments. I mean, there's probably nothing that Kelsey hasn't seen in terms of defensive alignments, potential stunts, and stuff like that the Niners are going to throw at them.
Right. And look, you got a great line when you skip a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? It's going to be a great game. I'm going to be down there again today. It's going to be a great game. And I did not want to bet on the Eagles. I don't bet on the Eagles that often, to be honest with you, just because your heart's in it. This is one I got to take, and I know they're baiting you into taking it and everything, but at home, come on, they've had this game circled too. It's not like the 49ers are the only ones that had this game circled. The Eagles owe them one too because they've been talking a lot of smack.
I just don't understand how a 10-1 team that's, Jesse, as you mentioned, is in this gauntlet, undefeated in the gauntlet, at home, revenge factor for the Niners, and they're 3 points underdogs. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. If you give the -3 for home field, that means Vegas and bettors think that the Eagles are 6 points worse than the Niners at home.
Hey,
Brock Purdy should not. He don't have that stroke yet. I don't care that he was Mr. Irrelevant for a reason. He struggled on the road at Iowa State. He struggled on the road against last year in his debut season. He got smacked up in the NFC Championship game, didn't even finish the game. So the Eagles being underdogs at all is just extremely disrespectful, in my opinion. At worst, if bettors and Vegas and the odds makers think that the Niners are better than the Eagles, at worst, this should be a pick'em. Straight toss-up, straight coin flip. But you take in the factor for the 3 points the Eagles should be favored by for home field, and it swings 3 points in the other direction, a 6-point swing, that's ridiculous.
And let's not forget the biggest factor in this. The Niners went and put Brocky all over your guy's Rocky statue.
Again. And those West Coast softies are going to do that stuff and flip the double bird to the Eagles fans, put their jersey on Rocky, say, oh, we ain't scared. But then they're going to come into the stadium, they're going to get smacked up, and then they're going to go, oh, my God, I was in Philly at the Eagles game. I didn't feel safe. They cheered way too loud when the Eagles did well, and it made me uncomfortable. That's what's going to happen today. I can't stand. As an Eagles fan, and this is almost blasphemous to say, I would rather lose next week to the stupid, stinking Dallas Cowboys than lose this game today. I'm getting amped up just talking about it. But, I mean, in terms of fantasy, I mean, obviously we're starting our studs. Do we have a sleeper in this game? We got 2 overs from you guys, 1 under from me. The main reason I like the under is because I don't trust Brock Purdy to do his share. Like, I think the Eagles are good for 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, maybe 3 touchdowns and a field goal to get close to that 30 number in that neighborhood. I don't trust Brock Purdy to do it. I don't. And I think revenge is going to play against the San Francisco 49ers in this game. They're so consumed with hatred. The Eagles have been living rent-free in the Niners' head for almost a year. So I expect the Niners to maybe press a little bit. I expect the Niners to maybe make a couple of stupid penalties early on, be undisciplined, and that's going to play right into the Eagles' hands. I love the Eagles in this spot. I like the under. From a fantasy standpoint, anything jumping out to you, Mike?
Yeah, from fantasy standpoint, Ayuk. I think your corners are a liability. Slay's obviously playing better than Bradbury, but I think if I'm the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, who's going to look for the weak man on the Eagles, it's going to be Bradbury. It's going to be your slot corner in the middle of your defense. Zach Cunningham's out with a hamstring. And, I mean, the middle of the defense was already susceptible for a big tight end. So, in addition to Ayuk, I'd also look for Kittle to have a monster day. Tight ends down the seam. That Brock Purdy actually likes Kittle a lot. I know you're down on Purdy this game, but I actually think he's probably going to put up 250, 3 touchdowns through the air, just attacking that middle of that defense. Eagles side, A.J. Brown's a must start. It doesn't really matter the matchup, but in this matchup, he has Chardavius Ward, who I mentioned earlier, who was the weak link on that 49ers defense. And without Hufanga there, who was lost for the season, their safety, I just think it's going to be difficult for the Niners. It's going to be tough sledding to stop A.J. Brown. And then in addition, I mean, you have to play Hurts. They're going to get to the 1-yard line. He'll get his tush push, 1-yard push. He'll get a touchdown from A.J. Brown. He'll put up a solid day, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to play all your studs. You have to play everyone. The only one I would even possibly question would be DeAndre Swift right now, just because he's been a little bit hit or miss, depending on situation. But I believe this is going to be a passing game. I think they're going to force Hurts to pass, right? Brock Purdy's going to have to pass. I don't think you're just going to be able to line up and run it against both of these defenses, and really score points. And I think points are going to be key. Both secondaries have holes. They have weaknesses, right? And I expect to see those exploited. So it's going to be a passing game, right? Passing the ball leads to, more possessions, right? Because any incompletions, a stoppage and play, all right? But any completions usually, a little bit longer of a play than a run, right? So that's what leads to a lot of overs. Obviously, both teams are going to have to continue to be proficient in the red zone, and both teams have shown that. The 49ers all season, and the Eagles certainly the last I don't know, 6 games or so. You can look, go ahead and look at the stats. I know they started off a little slow, in the red zone, but the Eagles have since picked it up. I want to say they're like 5 for 5, maybe their last 5 red zone trips. Definitely go out there and look up the stats and bet that yourself. But this is going to be a scoring affair, in my opinion. They're not going to hold back a whole bunch of plays, right? A lot of times you'll see this. Teams will hold back plays and wait for the playoffs. Yeah, these two teams, have a very good chance of seeing each other again in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to hold back a whole bunch right now. I think you're going to see essentially a playoff game.
Here we got Chris Garland. This is why everyone on this panel likes the Eagles. Even a Cowboys fan likes the Eagles today. And this is kind of the national narrative behind this team. Clearly, you don't know football if you think this topic is even going to be close to happen. I mean, an over-under of 48, that's not going to be close to happen. Vegas knows a lot more than both of us, all 3 of us, and Chris Garland combined, and that's what they think is going to happen. Chris Garland, this is my favorite. This is my favorite one. The Eagles aren't 10-1 good. Their luck will eventually run out. Dallas will beat them next week and in the playoffs like they should have last time. Refs helping the Eagles. I love this narrative that none of the Eagles wins count. They either cheated, paid the refs, or didn't win by enough, or it's all nonsense. It's all sour grapes. Like, I love how remember last year the Eagles got a lot of breaks with like hurt quarterbacks and teams that didn't live up to expectations, and they ran through the league. Like, they won a lot of games last year by a lot of points, by a lot of decisive margins. That team didn't play anyone. Now this team is running the gauntlet, undefeated in that gauntlet, 10-1, and they don't win by enough. So which one is it for haters like Chris? Clearly Chris is a Cowboys fan. Maybe him and Mike can grab a beer sometime and talk about how much they hate the
he's not my brother, and I don't know. That's why I was kidding. You guys have earned it. You've beaten the best teams.
This is another one of my favorite one. The tush push is illegal. Cheating.
If the tush push is so illegal and they're going to get rid of it next year, why didn't they get rid of it last year when they reviewed it? And why doesn't the rest of the league do it? Why are the Eagles the only ones that can do it?
Because they're not good enough at it. I've seen teams get barely make it.
Watching college teams, do it better than a lot of the NFL teams. So I don't know what you're talking about, Chris with a K. Maybe you should go keep up with the Kardashians, buddy.
You know what I love? Like, remember in from 2010 to 2015 when Tom Brady was really going in on the Patriots, every 4th and 1 he would do a QB sneak, and he was really good at it because he was aggressive and he was assertive and he wasn't scared, and they would get it almost every time. No one cared. Wasn't illegal for Tom Brady to do it. Wasn't illegal for the Patriots to do it. Notorious cheaters up there in New England, by the way. They've been caught cheating multiple times, but no one says nothing when Tom Brady's being successful at the QB sneak, like picking up 4th and 1s at an incredibly successful rate. But all of a sudden, Philly has the best center maybe of all time and a quarterback that's squats, deadlifts, whatever you want to call it, 600 pounds, and they can just drive those legs forward and pick up 2-3 yards on 4th and 1. They could go all the way down the field with a tush push, I think.
Against a lot of teams, they really could. I mean, you could tell the teams that, play the Eagles and have, tried to devise a scheme to stop that, play the Eagles often. And you can tell the teams that, from the AFC that are only coming over once. Of course, they've heard of it, but, they might have done one day of drills trying to stop it. Those are the ones that get pushed back, 3, 4, 5 yards.
Chris is making my morning. It's not a sneak, dummy. What is it then? It's not a QB sneak. What is it? What is it? It's a QB sneak. It's a QB sneak. I mean, the media we just came up with
hit the ball to him. The quarterback runs. What do you want to call it? A design run?
It's called a sneak. That's what it's called. It's called a sneak. I'll be here when the Eagles win no playoff games if we meet us in second round. Who's us? The Cowboys?
Yeah, I don't know who else.
I think the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys should worry about getting past the first game first.
Yeah, we'll be here completely. Too. Just keep listening, buddy.
I mean, we're trying to help you, Chris, but I mean, you're struggling this morning. We love you.
I can't let you go all the way in on them. I mean, if the Cowboys get the wild card, they're playing the AFC South And the AFC South, they might not even get a
They'll
team
win
over
that
7
like they
points.
did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll depend on the seeds. It could be the second round. So it'd be 4. And then I'm assuming that San Fran's going to be the 2 seed, even if they lose today, because I don't believe in Detroit at all. Jesse, you nailed that one. So then it would set up the Eagles and the Cowboys in the divisional round.
Yeah.
So the Eagles are going to get even a tougher. I mean, we're checking a little bit here, but even a tougher playoff road, because last year they were able to play the stinky Giants and stinky Daniel Jones in the second round, and they ran through them. Apparently, that playoff win doesn't count because they played Daniel Jones, even though they won by a lot. They won by margin, covered the spread tenfold, but it doesn't count. Just like much of the Eagles' wins this year, they don't count. I know. I was in a group chat talking to some friends how Shaq Leonard wants to play for a winner, and I said he shouldn't go to the Cowboys, just come to the Eagles. The Cowboys are allergic to January football. And then one of my buddies pointed out how I have to factor in how none of the Eagles' wins actually count. So maybe we won't get Shaq Leonard. He'll sign with the Cowboys.
Shaq Leonard's shot. I mean, he was a great player. It's a shame to see injuries take another great one from us. But Shaq Leonard is a shell of himself.
Well, why not bring him in?
An absolute dog when he came into the league. It was a shame to see, his best years, just get wasted away.
Yeah, but I mean, he comes in as almost a starter for either team. The Cowboys are playing guys that are safeties
why
as
wouldn't you
linebackers,
just take a flyer on
and
him?
the Eagles need a linebacker. Yeah.
Nah, you guys haven't watched him play. I'm telling you, he's done his shot.
No, I don't need to watch them play. I'm watching our linebacker on the Eagles and the Cowboys play.
Yeah, maybe on the Cowboys, but I'm telling you, I love Shaq Leonard. I loved him, when he was younger. There's a reason why he was relegated to the bench in Indy. I'm telling you, has he been signed yet?
No, I think it's going to be next. I think they're going to pick up. He's going to pick between the Eagles and the Cowboys next week. I just saw it on whatever countdown, NFL countdown on ESPN. Eagles players are saying Shaq Leonard sucks because they won't get him. Like, no Eagles player has said anything of the sort, Chris. None. They're trying to recruit him and sign him. You don't recruit free agents to come to your team by saying they suck. I would welcome Shaq Leonard. I think the Eagles should sign him. All right. Let's move on. Bye weeks. 6 teams on bye. Then I think we have 2 on bye next week in the final week of the fantasy regular season, week 14. So bye weeks almost in a rearview mirror. Baltimore, Buffalo, Chicago, Las Vegas, Minnesota, and the New York Football Giants all have byes this week. A lot of studs in there. We're trying to help you get through it. Give you some alternates. Josh Allen, Diggs, Lamar Jackson. Those Baltimore running backs have been killing it. Davante Adams on bye weeks. Saquon Barkley on bye weeks. A lot of star power on byes this week. One of my favorite bye week fill-ins is if you are a Davante Adams owner. Hopefully you've been listening to the podcast and you have Rashee Rice some way, somehow on your team. I think the Chiefs roll tonight all over the Green Bay Packers. Rashee Rice, you got to figure out a way to get him in your lineup. He's becoming Patrick Mahomes' favorite outside threat, outside of obviously Travis Kelce, who handles those inside routes. Those receivers on bye, and I think a plus matchup on Sunday Night Football in Green Bay. Rashee Rice, start him with confidence. That's my number one bye week fill-in guy with some pretty star-studded receivers on bye week this week.
My bye week fill-in this week with TJ Hawkinson on a bye. I think you go Gerald Everett, Keenan Allen, who's banged up. Quentin Johnson has done very little. Guyton's out. So, I mean, Herbert's going to have to look somewhere. And I know him and the Chargers haven't been playing great, but coach is on the hot seat. He should have been fired last year, Staley, but he's going to be on the hot seat and he's got to win and to keep his job. So I see them trying to put up points. I know Kellen Moore is being talked about as a potential replacement for Frank Reich in Carolina. So, over the next couple of weeks, he's going to want to show what he can do with the offense. try and put some more good tape out there for a potential head coaching position. So for me, I think Gerald Everett would be a good fill in. I know he's available in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, that's a great pick call right there, Mike, with Gerald Everett. I was, literally looking for a tight end in a league, and Kyle Pitts got dropped and was available. Logan Allen from, the Commanders was dropped and available. And I literally passed both of them and went with Gerald Everett just for the upside, because really, it's just like any other year when you're looking at that tight end waiver wire late in the year. Everyone has already, settled in on their player. You're really just looking and hoping and guessing and praying for a touchdown. And I just feel like Everett, with some of their receivers a little banged up, has the better chance of getting a touchdown. So that was a great call, Mike. Definitely a tough week in a lot of my leagues. I have some leagues where my entire bench is just completely on bye, and I can't drop anybody. I just absolutely refuse to drop anybody. Greg Dortch has been getting quite a lot of work in Arizona. So Dortch is a guy who I have been adding in leagues and slotting right into the flex, hoping for definitely in PPR leagues. This is way more of a PPR move than it is a standard league move. But in PPR, Greg Dortch has been great. In standard, if you're really looking for a touchdown, similar to the same vein as Gerald Everett, if he's still available, Juwan Johnson out there for the New Orleans Saints. Their wide receivers have been banged up all week. They're going to have to try and find someone to throw the ball to and move the ball. And I think Juwan Johnson for the Saints is a good bye week flex play and has a real good shot of getting in the end zone today.
And we talk about tight ends and like trying to help people who don't have Travis Kelce on their team. I have two for you. Bailey Zappi is looks like, obviously Grumpy Bill up there in New England is playing close to the vest, but Bailey Zappi got the majority of first team reps, and he's not Mac Jones, so it can only go up from here. Mac Jones absolutely stinks. I think that opens the door for Hunter Henry to maybe fall in the end zone against a Chargers team that's just a mess and messes up everything, and they stink, and I'm done believing in them until Brandon Staley is fired. Another hot waiver wire pickup that I've found. He's gone in all my leagues, but Dalton Schultz is going to miss the game today for the Houston Texans. They have a backup tight end, young upstart guy named Brevin Jordan. If you're looking on the waiver wire at this point for a fill-in tight end, I don't think you can do much better than a guy who's got C.J. Stroud, who's absolutely shredding this season, throwing him the ball. Brevin Jordan is also my daily fantasy tight end. His price is under $3,000. Like I said, C.J. Stroud's his quarterback. Texans put up points. I would start Brevin Jordan with confidence today. Not only do you have those guys on buys, I'm also awaiting the status of Trey McBride. When the actives and inactives come out, that's a 1:00 game in Pittsburgh. I don't like the matchup at all. I think the Cardinals are going to get smoked, but you got garbage time in fantasy. It's different. So I'm waiting to see if Trey McBride is active. Trey McBride he's bailed me out of my Kyle Pitts mistake in most of my leagues. I was able to grab him. Ertz went down. Now Ertz has been released. Trey McBride, we're keeping an eye on that. Other quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks. Do you guys have a sleeper quarterback today? The Vikings, what did I say? Who did I say was on bye? So you got Fields, who's a dual threat, three dual threat guys, Fields, Allen, Lamar Jackson, all on bye. All those guys are probably starters in any 10 to 12 team league across the country. Fill in bye week quarterbacks for the people out there. Mike?
If you can get them, I guess. I'm starting Sam Howell, but most people probably have Sam Howell on their team. I don't really think there's much available. Burrow's done for the season. So you're going to have to maybe stream a guy. You're just going to have to look at matchups. And I don't really have anybody to fill in. That is a lot of quarterbacks out there.
Kenny Pickett.
That is a homer call if I ever heard one.
That's right. Kenny Pickett with the 2 gloves and everything. 2 gloves, 2 touchdowns today. look, they got rid of Matt Canada. They got rid of the cancer in the booth, right? They had their first 400 plus offensive yardage game in the last 50 something odd games. Look up the stat. It's been echoed all week. They didn't get in the end zone, but touchdowns are fickle. And it was the first week implementing the new offense. I think it only gets better. They had the lowly Cardinals coming in town. This is a perfect game to test some stuff on, try and get right, and to try and get in the end zone. And, obviously the defense should be able to get them in some decent field position. And, I think, we're talking about waiver wire streamers, of course. I'm not starting Pickett over, most of your starters out there. But, I would start Pickett today over, Jared Goff. I would start him over, I don't know, Bryce Young, if anyone's starting Bryce Young or anyone in Cleveland or anything like that. Jordan Love, I know he had a great game last game, but he's going up against a very good defense this week. So that's, could be a lot tougher of a game. That would definitely be a consideration. But I think for streamers, if you're looking at guys who are available out there on waiver wires, Kenny Pickett, is certainly someone that can be a serviceable QB this week. I'm not predicting him to be the QB1 overall or anything like that, but I do think Kenny Pickett, you can put him right in your lineup, get your whatever 20 points from him and keep it moving. Kenny Pickett's on the come up, man. Watch, and you might be watching him in the playoffs.
We'll watch him in the playoffs, but he's not on the come up.
Okay,
quarterback.
I just my team's out of it, so I'll take a chance. I'll go with young Kenny Pickett. I'll start him in the league. I had Jake Browning as my streamer, but I'll go with the pick connection. My boy Jesse tells me Kenny Pickett's going to do good today. I like that.
I mean, if Jake Browning and Kenny Pickett, get out of my face.
Yeah, well, I just did whatever on Wednesday, and now I'm fixing it now.
Yeah.
Relax.
Last week was
2-10. The team's 2-10. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, last week was a tough division game. You know what I mean? Obviously Burrow is out, but anytime you play a division game, it's going to be tough, even without a quarterback. Kenny Pickett got the Muth loose. Freiermuth was engaged, 9 catches, 120 yards. He targeted Deontay Johnson. He really should have had a touchdown, Deontay Johnson. So that would have been another 40 yards and a tutty. Just watch.
Who do you like better, Jetty? You're the Kenny Pickett, Pitt Panther expert on the panel. Do you think Kenny Pickett under the new offense is going to favor George Pickens or Deontay Johnson? Who's the wide receiver one there in Pittsburgh?
Oh, Deontay.
So Deontay. So they're priced very. I only asked that because George Pickens is my flex right now. He's my flex or one of my wide receivers. Him and Deontay Johnson are priced very similarly on DFS, on DraftKings. I have Pickens in there now, but you think maybe I should switch up to Deontay Johnson?
No, I think Deontay is the first read, right, on most looks. And, we're obviously going to watch the offense develop and see how this goes. But I think Freiermuth and Deontay are going to get more targets than Pickens, week to week. But Pickens is that big play guy, right? He could take anyone to the house for, 70 yards and a touchdown. So it really just depends on what you're looking for. I don't see Deontay putting up, 152, right? But I can see Deontay putting up, 10 for 80 and a touchdown, right? So it really just depends on what you're looking for, whether you're looking for that, that floor or the real high ceiling. But I think we're going to continue to look at the box scores. Deontay Johnson's going to be, the lead wide receiver in targets. I think, Freiermuth is going to be, utilizing the offense because the one thing Canada did not do, he did not use the seams. He didn't use the middle of the field. And on the outside with Pickens, all he did was run him on go routes and curls. He didn't run him on any easy routes, any slants or anything to just get him open, get him some separation. So I think, we don't know exactly what the offense is going to be. We've only watched one game, right? But, I think that, all three of those guys are going to be, weekly starters on most teams, right? Maybe flex or wide receiver 2 starters and obviously a tight end. But I think you continue to see, the target tree go to Deontay, Freiermuth, and then Pickens. But like I said, Pickens could take it one deep any given play. Is this going to be the week? I don't know. I haven't heard him chirping a whole bunch. I think they're all focused on learning a new offense. But I do think they're going to try some stuff this week. This might be the week for him to go deep because I think they should beat up on the Cardinals. And the Cardinals have been playing a really, really soft zone defense, kind of like the one that lost us the Super Bowl last year.
Wait, you mean the coach that coached Philly? He's doing the same stupid, dumb stuff in Arizona?
Stupid, dumb stuff, but without the talent to even try to do it.
Make him, yeah. It's a shame. You hate to see it.
I don't.
You hate to see it. I don't care about him either.
But I will say,
Mike,
I will say, both of our offense and defensive coordinator from Philadelphia from last year are gone. And both of them are head coaches. So it's not like we lost just anybody. It's not like we lost guys, like Kellen Moore going over just to be an OC. We lost head coaches.
Yeah. True.
And
Mike, do you have
10-1.
You have a thought on the new look Steelers offense?
Yeah, Jesse's being a homer. Kenny Pickett, he doesn't have it. I mean, they need a quarterback there desperately. You have talent in your wide receivers, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, and they're not being fully utilized. Also, with the Kellen Moore thing, that was an addition by subtraction. Cowboys had to get the Jason Garrett mentality out of there. So, yeah, he left for an OC, but that was not a loss in my eyes. I saw McCarthy wanted to take over play calling, and Cowboys are right where they left off last year, if not better. So,
right where they left off, in the backseat.
Well, we'll see playoff time.
If you guys make it.
We have a 3-game lead on the 5th wild card.
It took a BS call for you to beat Seattle. Yeah.
Let's not talk about some BS calls.
Let's talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
Cost us the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What else we got here?
Well, wait,
keeping on.
DK Metcalf just caught another touchdown.
Yeah, that vaunted Dallas defense got shredded by Seattle.
I mean, the Cowboys played 3 games in 12 days. It was just exhaustion.
Yeah, they're tired.
Oh, wow. They had wow, 3 games in 12 days. Wow.
It's all right. Their season's almost over.
But now it's nonsense. Now it's nonsense. They got the extra 3 days to prepare for the Eagles. The Eagles got to play at 4:25 on Sunday. Dallas is in the barn with their Week 13 win already, and they get the extra 3 days. So it all evens out. Like, I don't want to hear about the schedule and the rest.
Well, I'm just saying that's why you just said they got shredded. I'm just saying it's because they were tired. They'll get that break, and they'll be back.
They better rest up because the birds are coming down. And God forbid that the Eagles lose today to the San Francisco 49ers. The Eagles off a loss going down to Big D. They owe them a couple down there in Big D. Dallas has had their number down there in Big D over the past couple of years. So, I mean, if the Eagles lose today.
Dallas has everybody's number down in Big D. I mean,
apparently this season, yes.
Well, they're 14-0 in their last 14.
I understand. I just said, yeah, they're due for a loss. Only if the Eagles win today, I think it's a classic letdown spot for the Eagles next week. Classic letdown spot. They should be up for the game because it's a division game, but, I mean, they can't win every game, can they? Maybe they can. I don't know. Flex options. Before we get out of here, making way for the Money Pop Podcast with Nate Moss coming up in a few minutes, 10 a.m. right here on A2D Radio. First, let's hear a word from our sponsors at Royal Billiards.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor, and fun. Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
All right, there they are, Royal Billiards. Turn any ordinary room into an extraordinary man cave located in Colmar, PA. 515 Bethlehem Pike. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. Again, that's Royal Billiards, royalbilliards.com. Turn any ordinary room into an extraordinary man cave. They got everything you need. Flex options, few minutes left, 10 minutes left. Money Pop Podcast coming up next. I'm looking through my teams. Like, I don't really have many decisions. The only decision I need to see if Olave is active, but if Olave is not active, I'm putting my boy Rashee Rice in. He's on my bench right now.
So, Rob, it just came through that Olave will play.
That's wild. That's wild because, like, remember last season, he had 2 concussions in the season. You know what I mean? I just don't understand why they would. It's almost like Tua, but without, the whole world watching it, right? Live.
Dude, they don't care about, like, they talk the talk when it comes to player safety, but they don't care. They don't care.
You're right. I mean, either that or, like, he really is, quote unquote, medically okay, right? It wasn't
they
really.
They probably the good players and the quarterbacks. I feel like they hand them like the neurology, like, answers, like, like, here's the answers, like, try and remember these so you can play on Sunday. If you can't remember this and we gave you the answers to the test, then you can't play. But if you can remember this, you're probably fine.
You're seeing more and more, at least 1 week off. That's I guess I'll just mind my own business. I don't know if I like it or love it or what. You know what I mean? They are grown men, so let them play. But, like, I kind of feel like in 2023, it should just be like an automatic 1 week, right? Like, just for concussion.
Just protect the player from themselves.
Yeah, but, I just,
earlier in the season, Brock Purdy got cleared in like 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's like minimum 7 days you need off. Like,
that's
because he was a quarterback, and I think they had a primetime game coming up.
Yeah.
So,
but you are right, Rob. That really, that answers a lot of my personal flex questions because I was like, of course, on top of all these buys, Olave is going to be bless you. That's tough. But I do have, I like to do my running backs versus wide receivers, right? So I've got, Dameon Pierce is back. He should be playing today. AJ Dillon is going to be the lead back again. For the Packers, I don't believe Aaron Jones is playing. So, either AJ Dillon or Dameon Pierce versus guys like Hollywood Brown, Puka Nacua. Those are the guys that, that are really jumping out to me as flex decisions. So I guess start 2, Dillon, Pierce, Hollywood Brown. Also, let's throw Brian Robinson in there. Dillon Pierce, Brian Robinson, or Hollywood Brown, or hold on, sorry, I'm just scrolling. Hollywood Brown, Godwin, guys of that level, right? So Hollywood Brown, Godwin versus the like AJ Dillon with the full workload, Dameon Pierce coming back off, Brian Robinson, things of that.
Well, I can safely say Dameon Pierce would not be a start for me.
He's the worst. He's the worst guy you mentioned. He hasn't done anything this year.
He's not fit for that running scheme. He needs the one cut and go, not the zone scheme, which is where Singletary thrives. So he's out completely. I'd probably lean 2 running backs. I'd probably go AJ Dillon with the full workload. That Chiefs defense is nothing. It's really good. It's nothing to snuff at. And I can see him getting that full workload there, getting about 20 carries, potentially getting a touchdown. And then for me, Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson looks like, he's had quite a year. The Commanders have been moving the ball up and down the field. Robinson, I mean, he's had a couple good weeks for me in the league, so I'd probably go Robinson.
Hollywood Brown. AJ Dillon makes me nervous tonight because I think game script is going to affect his output. I think they're going to have to throw the ball a lot because I think they're going to be losing. I love the Chiefs tonight. So that makes me nervous. Brian Robinson, that should be a slot fest down there in D.C. Washington's going to have to score points to keep up with Miami, so that would be a start. And then I like Dort. I mean, I like where your head's at with the Cardinals receiver, but I like Dortch. He's been getting he's 17 targets over the last 2 weeks. I mean, Kyler Murray clearly likes him. I thought that guy was going to be Rondale Moore when Kyler Murray came back, but it looks like it's Dortch. So and then game script again. I think that the Steelers should be okay today. They should be up majority of the game. So Kyler Murray's going to have to run around and throw the football. So I do like Brian Robinson and Hollywood Brown, I guess. But my favorite Cardinals receiver of the week is Dortch. I don't even know his first name. Glendon Dortch. Is that his name? Greg Dortch.
Yeah. All right. I'm in running back purgatory in a couple leagues. Like I'm literally having to start a backup because all my running backs are out. So Dearness Johnson, Samaje P. Ryan, Trace Sermon, Jamal Williams, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jaleel McLaughlin. Any guys in those range? Who would you start in that range?
I think you should have stopped after you said the first name. Dearness Johnson. Travis Etienne, he's banged up. There's still questions whether he goes, so I don't see him getting a full workload. I think Johnson, at minimum, gets about 7 to 10 carries. And if he falls in the back, it falls into the end zone, you got somebody who gave you 12 points, 15 points potentially. With Etienne's status still questionable, he was limited in practice all week. I think Dearness Johnson would be the play if you had to start a backup.
I'm trying to look at some of the guys that are actually on.
Yeah, I was literally reading down waivers for that.
That's what you just did.
And you're right, Mike. That's where I stopped. I put the earnest in, but it was definitely a question that I had in 2 leagues actually. So I assumed if I have him in 2 leagues, someone out there has that question too. Because in that league, Barkley is on bye. Kenneth Walker is injured and was out. Khalil Herbert was my backup. As you can tell, I punted on running back. Not punted, but
yeah.
Stars and scrubs.
Patrick Taylor's the backup in Green Bay.
Yeah. Maybe if they get into if they have to throw the ball. Antonio Gibson, I definitely started him in a league. I think this might be a good game script for Antonio. If Miami's putting up big points, then they're going to need, that receiving back there. That was really my only question mark for Brian Robinson. Obviously, he's the one that gets the most touches out of, the guys that I have put him around and he's utilizing both aspects of the game and just a better player out of the ones that I put him around. But it's just really that question mark in my head. Is this going to be a passing game?
All right, final thoughts. We got to get out of here. We got to make way for the Money Pop podcast coming up at 10 a.m. Eastern. All your gambling picks, parlays, props, Eagles, Niners, all the big games. They'll be previewed from a gambling perspective right here on ATD Radio in just a few minutes at 10 o'clock. Let's get official, final Eagles, Niners predictions. Mike, what do you got?
I think it's a coin flip game. I think you guys ultimately prevail. This is probably, if you win this game, you pretty much get the number 1 seed because you'll have the tiebreaker of the Niners. Already got one in the bag for the Cowboys. So I think this is a huge game for the Eagles, and if they don't, then they fall 10-2, and then they're in a dogfight with the Lions, Cowboys, Niners for that top spot. So I think the Eagles come out strong, start quick, unlike the last couple of weeks, and it's going to be a hard-fought game, but I actually do think you guys prevail.
Jesse?
38-33 Birds.
Woohoo! That is flying over. I'm 28-10 Birds. I don't trust Brock Purdy. Sorry. He's Mr. Irrelevant for a reason. Mike, you hit the nail on the head. Start fast. I don't want to be losing going into the second half for the 4th, 5th, 6th game in a row. Let's start fast. Let's be physical. Let's get that running game going. Everything stems off that. Defense steps up. Eagles step up. Eagles win 28-10. I'm Rob Brinkman, Mike Everly, Jesse King. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the Money Pop podcast coming up right now, just a few minutes. And as always, go Birds.
Go Birds.